Those who feel a powerful call to the spiritual realm understand that the universe is not only composed of what we can see, but much beyond the simple. There is a complex space where energies and connections between souls weave a kind of web, which in most cases goes unnoticed by us. However, what happens when that part of us that can give us visibility into what lies beyond appearances comes into action and allows us to appreciate the wonders behind the known? We are not the only inhabitants in this vast universe, and our dimension is not the only inhabited space. It is vital that we understand and accept that we are simply not alone. But rather than feeling fear of what we do not know, we must open ourselves to receive and understand the messages and guidance that we often receive from beings of light from other realms and dimensions. The awakening and enlightenment of the so-called third eye is an event that can lead us to better understand what we perceive in a very subtle way, but that we often do not process in our conscious side. This part of us is associated with the spiritual and our connection to it. That is why many seek and work for the benefit of having that part of them finally open and provide us with the invaluable experience of learning, evolution, and even personal discovery. There are parts of us that can remain dormant for long periods. However, this does not imply that we lose these gifts or abilities in any way. It only tells us that our preparation from a conscious side is not yet at the necessary point. When we are prepared, our gifts and powers begin to emerge in the most beautiful ways, and our being seems to face a world that, although it has always been there, was not perceptible to us. Just imagine waking up one day and finding that everything around you is different, much more astonishing than what you previously knew, and furthermore, that everyone around you is just as you remember them, but infused with a noticeable energy, one that always accompanied them and you could never see. These and more are the things experienced from a spiritual awakening, and especially from the opening of that much talked about third eye. However, for many, the process of enlightenment is still confusing, and upon seeing how certain things manifest in their reality, they doubt whether what they are experiencing is indeed part of that awakening and opening of the third eye. That is why today we will explore some of the most noticeable signs that appear in our lives, indicating to a person that their third eye has opened to show them incredible parts of the universe that were previously invisible to us, and so that from each of those parts we can extract that precious knowledge that helps us evolve and grow. So let's detail together those things that you might be experiencing and have ended up disregarding, but that portend a path of evolution for you. Number 1. You feel intensified intuition. Just like in other energetic or spiritual events, experiencing a kind of magnified intuition may be telling us that something in us has awakened, something like our third eye, and that from there we are receiving new guidance and knowledge. It's important to understand that just as we are constantly responding to the stimuli presented by our surroundings, our soul does the same, except it executes that response in a more unconscious manner for us, guiding us similarly through those events generated in our environment. Our soul has the remarkable ability to detect energetic changes, events, and manifestations that are happening around us, and it can even decipher the vibrations produced by other people, responding to their souls and the energy they generate. This often leads our soul to cautiously guide us through certain passages, or even to try to bring us closer to or further away from certain individuals specifically. Over time, we almost immediately realize that this stimulus has a tangible reason to occur as we see the true intentions and forms of everything around us materialize in reality. Intuition is a topic that has long been discussed and is closely related to the soul and the messages and stimuli it receives from the environment and higher realms. Although these messages are not consciously manageable, they are accepted by the soul and help us make our journey more harmonious. This intuition presents itself as a voice speaking from deep within us, or even as an idea that suddenly jumps into our consciousness, with a force that immediately grabs our attention, leading us to heed it and guiding our being along paths we often never even considered. Our being is so perfectly designed for well-being and to have everything it desires that it has the ability to receive and decipher messages from higher energies, which seek only to assist us in our process and journey. Understanding this, it is not difficult to grasp that when our third eye opens, our ability to perceive messages from higher frequencies is intensified, making these pieces of information and guidance increasingly clear to us. It is important to remember within our being that there are beings of light with a much higher level of consciousness than ours, who inhabit realms and dimensions different from ours, and who are guided by the principles of compassion, love, and collaboration. Therefore, they seek to offer us their assistance. This assistance is often only understood by our soul, but by opening that third eye and beginning to develop an understanding of the messages that come through it, we can make the most of the helping hand extended to us. Ultimately, opening our consciousness to receive these guides constitutes a great advancement for us, as they will never be negative. They always work for the benefit of our souls, guided by the principles that govern civilizations at higher levels than ours. These same principles lead these beings to seek to help our souls, so that we can all situate ourselves in a more illuminated, harmonious space, conducive to the development of our mission and the manifestation of our desires. So, if at any point you begin to feel as if you could determine, beyond consciousness and logic, and with greater certainty, the most suitable path or methods for your being, it is likely because you are receiving that celestial and spiritual assistance that can result from the opening of the third eye and the reception of the messages that accompany such an event. Number 2. You will feel your consciousness expanding. When our third eye expands, it results in a much deeper understanding of the universe, the energies, and the things that surround it, opening up in wisdom and balance towards the infinity of the universe and the opportunities and knowledge it offers. As previously expressed, on many occasions, this expansion of our senses and perceptions, which occurs from the third eye, is simply fascinating because it causes the being to begin to see everything in a different way. Although everything remains physically the same around them, their being has begun to see things from a different perspective, one that is wiser and provides greater opportunities to understand and take advantage of the universe, its energies, and the opportunities it presents. But not only that, this expansion of consciousness is also reflected in the way we understand ourselves, both individually and in relation to the universe around us, and even in relation to and interaction with the other souls and beings that inhabit the universe. Many times we see ourselves as simple individuals, devoid of abilities and valuable things, when the reality is that we are precious creations with a power that transcends the limits of imagination, destined by default to be happy. And yet we remain unhappy due to our own determination to close ourselves off to knowledge, self-acceptance, and everything that rightfully belongs to us. However, when our third eye has opened, it is because from consciousness we have made that very necessary shift towards self-discovery, from which we are able to accept all the value within us and those gifts with which we are born. Reaching that maximum point where we see and recognize ourselves as the beings we truly are, with those multidimensional and creative characteristics, indicates that our being is prepared to receive the knowledge that the universe holds, translating into the activation of our third eye. Recognizing ourselves leads us to understand that this third eye is a part of us, and that the power it provides is at our disposal, always seeking the benefit of our being, as there is no part of it that does not seek our well-being and expansion. But not only that, this awakening leads us to understand that we are not simply an energy placed in the midst of the universe, but rather an integral part of it, and that our energies blend and interact perfectly with this vast universe that houses us. We are an integral part of the way everything unfolds within the universe, and although we may not always be aware of our role in everything that happens, The truth is that everything around us is not simply a stage on which we have been placed, but also a reflection of us and our process. This, in turn, aligns with those ideas of unity that Dolores Cannon expressed on different occasions, and which align with a style of civilization different from what we know today, one that all souls are aspiring to, consciously or unconsciously, and which can be achieved through that leap of consciousness that humanity seeks. According to the ideas defended by this woman, as well as other great authors, the realms that are different from ours and are elevated above ours in terms of vibrational frequencies possess the particularity of being governed by much nobler and more beautiful principles. Some of these principles include infinite love, compassion, unlimited forgiveness, and unlimited cooperation, which are only possible from the understanding that we are all connected in a unique and unbreakable way. Dolores Cannon maintains that each of the souls and beings inhabiting this vast universe is in some way connected to each other. Their energies and souls intertwine, understanding beyond consciousness, guiding us along the right paths to maintain these energies in harmony and closeness. This explains in many ways the reason why, in one way or another, our being gravitates towards others and impels them in their process, even if this is an unconscious action. And it also provides an acceptable reason for the help that the beings of light, elevated from our realm, provide us with in terms of knowledge and guidance. This awakening we are discussing today, in addition to opening us up to this knowledge, allows our being to understand the ways in which everything occurs in perfection in the universe and within ourselves. Number 3. You will experience dreams and lived visions. Dreams are always a very controversial topic that ends up being associated with the level of consciousness, the reception of information and knowledge, and our quality as multidimensional beings. According to what Dolores Cannon expresses about humans and souls, we were created with the ability to inhabit one dimension, but to recognize from within ourselves the others and the beings that inhabit them, being able to visit them and receive loads of knowledge and wisdom from them. This is why many times people feel a profound fear and seek to close themselves off from this knowledge, which does not mean it should not exist, and that these multiple and different dimensions continue to coexist in harmony with ours. While there are people who wish to close their eyes to the realities that continue to exist simultaneously with ours, many others seek to recognize them and nourish themselves from them, because even though we may want to close our eyes to this, those realms and beings observe us and seek to interact with us. These interactions are always motivated by cooperation, compassion, and energetic and informative support among all beings that inhabit the universe, and they are made possible largely thanks to the development of that third eye, which when opened allows us to glimpse precious realities and knowledge that apparently has always been available to us, but we never took. One of the channels that this part of us uses to give us the necessary vision and reception of this knowledge is the realm of dreams, which has always been associated with multidimensional leaps and the reception of information from other planes. When we delve into the world of dreams, we also enter the world of profound knowledge and the encounter between souls, beings, and energies, one that brings with it energetic exchanges and messages. If we evaluate history, we can see how often people have recorded how their dreams end up serving as moments to receive premonitory messages and warnings about many events unfolding around them. When our third eye opens, this capacity is increased, and the way we understand the realm of dreams changes to allow us to expand the horizons of our understanding. It is not uncommon to see how our perception increases during these moments, when our body rests and our soul is ready to receive these guides and lights provided by the universe and the other beings that inhabit it. It is known that there are people who even become aware of how they venture into these spaces and into these distant and different realms from ours, from which they consciously navigate to discover what they require or occupy at the moment. This is an impressive ability that everyone would like to access, but few are able to develop, as it implies a high level of consciousness, wisdom, and an extensive history of work in our being and its evolution. The quality of the dreams we have since the awakening of that third eye is significantly different from what we previously had, and the scenarios we can appreciate are quite different, filled with symbolism and details that subtly but directly indicate what is desired or needed to know. While initially our being will receive those guides that are necessary and that these beings wish to provide us, our development can reach the point where we are the ones who request and seek that information until we obtain it and nourish ourselves with it. And it won't just be these dreams that serve as evidence of that open channel within us to transport wisdom, but we can also receive visions and mental panoramas that the mind brings to us even when awake. These visions should not be understood as dreams while the person is awake, as many like to define them, but we should appreciate them as profound moments of connection with the spiritual and the divine, from which our mind and our third eye as receivers of information show us those scenarios and images that can allow our being to decipher vital information for our well-being and our journey in this plane. Learning to receive and decipher this information is a skill that will only be possible through the opening of that third eye, and it will add an extra dimension to our existence and our soul journey. Number 4. Synchronicities and symbols. It is important to evaluate the way and the frequency in which the messages from the universe and the elevated energies and beings of our dimension can manifest in our daily lives, because these aspects may be marking an important event in our being, such as the awakening of that third eye. One of the ways these beings and energies have to manifest themselves in our lives is through synchronicities, and the appearance of those symbols in our daily lives that have a much deeper meaning than many understand. Synchronicities represent a rather profound and complex topic, one that Dolores presented to us in a light manner amidst her research, leading us to understand them as those winks that the universe gives us, and that are part of a much deeper language and form of communication than spoken expression. These synchronicities should be understood as events that fit and collide perfectly with the realities and situations that a person may be experiencing at a given moment in their life. These events and synchronicities can lead the person to pause and evaluate the way everything is ordered according to their journey, allowing them to open the door to determine what is developing on deeper levels and how the universe is manifesting in that way. It's understandable that many, upon hearing this, may become even more confused than they were initially, so we can illustrate synchronicities as simple examples that lead them to awaken to the presence of synchronicity in the reality they are experiencing. It could be simple events like a credit opportunity that arises for a person after they decide to start their own business or make a large purchase that is beneficial to their life. This translates into an extra boost that the universe and powerful energies give to our lives, and as approvals that are presented to us, reaffirming that the decisions and the path we have chosen are correct for our being and the fulfillment of its goals. But even simple things like an offer that pops up as an advertisement and aligns with one of our needs can also be called synchronicities, inviting us to see the support that the universe is providing us based on an internal transformation and expansion of our being. The event in which our third eye opens to the world of different dimensions is a powerful trigger of these synchronicities in our life, and it also shows us the capacity of our soul to interact with spaces and realms located in other levels of consciousness. But ultimately, this is not the only reference point in this regard, as there are also other signs that allow our being to experience how the world is reacting differently to our energy and its transformation. The appearance of symbols that may be simple for others, but that have a profound message for us, can constitute another indicator of how we have transformed in consciousness as a result of the awakening of our third eye. Just as this part of ourselves is associated with receiving messages from other planes and beings of different vibrational frequencies, the way these messages can manifest is quite diverse and enriching. These symbols can be small illustrations or drawings, but they can also be messages sent through numerical sequences associated with certain specific messages. Even a simple number can evoke a memory or be associated with an important part of someone's life or projects, foreshadowing what is to come and enriching the individual in every possible way. Taking the time to evaluate the manner and frequency of these messages and winks from the universe can powerfully help us determine if what we are experiencing is the awakening of our third eye. Number 5. We feel internally acquainted and gain clarity. As we develop the inherent abilities of our third eye, we not only gain a clear vision of the universe and how it moves, but also learn to appreciate ourselves in our true form. Many times people are strongly marked by social stigmas, which does not allow them to be in the way they are truly meant to be. However, this is something that is eliminated as we work on ourselves and open ourselves to the movement of the gifts and energies we have within us, which we suppress due to our lack of awareness. At times, our being fails to see in itself those incredible abilities we possess inherently, much less the things that ultimately make us special and unique. But this does not imply that these gifts have vanished from your being. Rather, they speak to the lack of recognition we have for ourselves. The strength that each of our physical bodies harbors is unstoppable and is determined by our soul, which even in our ignorance or unawareness of the matter continues to be guided by the universe and all the paths that lead to our evolution. We were designed so perfectly that even without knowing it, we advance along the path that our soul is tracing, with the aim of materializing our goals and the purpose that our soul holds. However, this path can become easier to traverse if we manage to see and accept each and every part that comprises us, as well as explore all the corners of our being from where we can act for the benefit of ourselves and our soul. There are people who spend their entire lives seeking that deep introspection, doing everything within their reach to get to know themselves more deeply, which can ultimately lead to that recognition. However, despite the fact that the third eye connects us with the universe, the spiritual, and other external factors, it also has the ability to make us see ourselves. So its awakening implies that introspection that some seek so much. There is nothing more powerful than knowing ourselves, because from the clear vision of what lies within each one of us, it becomes possible to fully exploit those abilities and parts of ourselves that we often overlook. Not to mention that it gives us the opportunity to strengthen these points that have become weakened. This directly leads to the enlightenment of the being and to being able to determine the path we are going to take in our lives, but not from a senseless compass, but from a very clearly established direction. Knowing ourselves and allowing that enlightenment that strengthens our being also allows us to reinforce our beliefs, eliminating fears and all kinds of factors that only interfere between us and our goal. It is extremely important to know that in the same way we embrace the light of true knowledge, we can also illuminate what surrounds us and see in a better way what the path and each event that presents itself to us is preparing us for. This transformation of our being leads us to walk in the midst of this journey with a profound sense of direction, and of course combining all our actions with the objective we pursue. But not only the earthly objective, but also that objective given by the mission that our soul fulfills on earth, because if there is one thing certain, it is that all souls have descended here by will and with a mission that not only nourishes their being and spirit but also contributes a valuable burden to humanity and the universe in general. If we know how to accept and embrace what we are, and we have also managed to understand the parts that make up our being, it is probably because your third eye has opened, and now it shows you the world and your mission more clearly. Number 6. We experience energetic sensitivity. Perhaps the title naming this sixth sign may make you feel a little overwhelmed, but beyond that strong name, there is a completely pleasant, enriching and beautiful sensation that serves as one of the strong signals that your third eye has awakened and is transforming our being. Energetic sensitivity is nothing but the way our being begins to perceive from the senses, the flow of energies that take place in the universe, one that has always existed, but that we previously ignored because we were asleep in consciousness. There is no purer way to experience the universe and every event that occurs in it than from our senses, because one of the great qualities that human beings possess is the ability to experience everything deeply through our sensations, which are only offered by our physical form. According to the teachings of Dolores, souls embark on an earthly journey strongly motivated by the unique learning experiences it offers. There is no other realm or physical form different from the human body that allows us to delve into each event and emotion as our body does in this earthly plane. One of the greatest blessings that human beings possess is the ability to experience everything intensely, expressing each energy in our body and taking its intensity to the highest levels, from which the teachings we can acquire are extremely valuable and solid. But this is not the only ability that human beings possess. We can also feel the energies that events and things appearing in our reality generate, as well as those of other souls. Everything we experience, often considered false by people who have not yet awakened spiritually, is a reaction of our body to the energies that surround us, coming from people, things, objects, and events. Although it may be difficult to accept, our body and our being are so sensitive that when we are near an energy different from ours, we can perceive it, even when our eyes do not allow us to see it. Similarly, the universe has a very particular vibration, from which all energies and beings in it move. When our energy is contrary to that of the universe, we tend to follow a difficult path, full of obstacles and strong challenges, where it becomes extremely difficult or even impossible to manifest our objectives. But when our being aligns with the universe and with everything that exists and moves within it, everything within us and in our reality begins to transform, and that change is highly noticeable through our senses and our body. It's as if we were a guitar being tuned to play the most beautiful melodies. Our being feels the way it synchronizes and harmonizes with the energies of the universe, and that's precisely what we refer to as energy sensitivity. And if at any point you can feel your entire being seemingly trembling with the positive and balanced energies surrounding you, what you're really experiencing is known as energy sensitivity, and it can be triggered by the awakening of the third eye. So we invite you to embrace all those beautiful sensations and let them flood and transform your being. Number 7. You will feel the connection with higher realms. To conclude this list, let's talk about what may be one of the most notable signs that your third eye has awakened, which is that your being will feel that connection with realms that are elevated from ours. Each of the dimensions and spaces to inhabit that the universe possesses has a different vibrational frequency, and it is associated with the type of energies that are managed there, which is why what is normal for our dimension is natural for our being. But when it crosses paths with energies that are in a different frequency, it ends up reacting and responding to these stimuli. Just as we can detect them, our being acquires the ability to recognize when these energies come from realms different from ours, all from the moment of our awakening and the opening of our third eye. Just as we receive messages, information, and guidance, we become possessors of the ability to determine when these come from a place different from the one we currently inhabit. This is how we end up experiencing to the fullest the opening of this channel of valuable information and wisdom, which, in addition to being a symptom of the evolution of our soul and the awakening of our third eye. For us, the idea of not being alone in the universe is both fascinating and terrifying, but understanding that fear never serves as an ally of truth and growth is why we must venture to live and experience these interactions. Unlike the catastrophic ideas that some people have tried to instill in the masses, societies, and life forms that are different from ours, don't have to be bad. In fact, according to Dolores, they align with principles and energies that are much higher than ours, so they don't conceive things in the same way we do. While we see everything outside of ourselves as a possible threat and think in terms of one life form dominating over others, These beings of light are strongly called to cooperate with those who have not yet made that leap in consciousness. They understand that we are all connected and genuinely care about helping us all align with the highest frequencies. Those energies linked to low vibrational frequencies only have power in the dimension we inhabit, largely because we ourselves have given them the power they have. Therefore, by awakening in consciousness and removing their influence from our lives and humanity, all the souls that inhabit here can migrate to better spaces where unity, cooperation, and the common good are the pillars of our society. Since the awakening of our third eye, we can feel how these realms have become increasingly closer to us and how the energies that govern them begin to invade and take over our being, thus making us part of that force and team composed of all the souls and life forms in the universe. Without a doubt, there are events that are profoundly transformative and growth-inducing for us, and the awakening of the third eye is one of them. That's why it's so important to understand what it entails and learn to detect the signs that indicate this profound change is taking place in our lives. And if you know of any other symptoms that the being experiences during this event, I would like you to go to the comments section and share them with us, because here we are, all here to grow and share much wisdom and light. If you enjoyed our meeting today, let me know by giving me a like. And if you would like to delve deeper into knowledge like that shared by the illustrious Dolores Cannon, then I invite you to join our community by subscribing to this channel. You can also invite anyone you think needs to receive this valuable information to join this space, and from there, help each other better understand the universe. I'll be happy to meet everyone from afar. For now, I bid you farewell, but we'll see each other very soon in a new edition.